I'm ready to be devastated. I'm ready to be emotionally devastated. Good morning, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be vlogging, but the main goal of today's vlog is to purchase and then read Sunrise on the Reaping. Today is March 18th, so that means that Sunrise on the Reaping is now on sale. I would have tried to go last night to like a midnight release party sort of thing to get it, but number one, I worked, so that kind of threw a wrench into those plans. And number two, I don't really have any friends. My social anxiety wouldn't have been able to handle a super big midnight release party, but all this to say, I'm gonna go and buy it now, and I'm very excited. I am a huge Hunger Games fan. Like, if there were a Letterboxd top 4, but for books, The Hunger Games, the first book, would always be in my top 4, like no matter what. That is the book that like really truly got me into reading in like a sick and twisted way. This is not my original copy of The Hunger Games, but when I moved, I realized, oh my gosh, I don't have a copy of The Hunger Games with me. So I thrifted a copy because I was like, I have to have a copy of this on my bookshelf. But then what did mess things up is I also eventually thrifted a copy of Catching Fire. And so now I own The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And so I'm like, is my shelf gonna look weird when I have all of these plus Sunrise on the Reaping, but then I don't have Mockingjay? I don't know, you let me know. I'm so excited. I think Suzanne Collins is truly a genius, just one of the most gifted authors of our generation, and I think The Hunger Games is gonna go down in history as a classic. I think it'll be taught in schools. I mean, the themes of this book are just, I mean, do we see what's going on in society right now? I'm so excited to dive back into the Hunger Games world, and with a character that I love, Haymitch. I mean, we've been wanting a book about Haymitch's games for forever. I'm ready to be devastated. I'm ready to be emotionally devastated. We know some things going into this, right? We know Haymitch wins. So, hey, spoiler alert, Haymitch wins the game, so we do know that going in. We know it's a quarter quell. We know there is double the amount of tributes in this Hunger Games than there are normally. Haymitch is gonna go through the ringer emotionally. So yay, that'll be like so fun to read about. I'll be interested to see, you know, how much of Snow we see, especially now that we know so much more about him. Do we think like Lucy Gray would be mentioned like at all? Because this is like closer to her time. I don't know. I think we will see Katniss's mom. Anyway, so we're gonna go to Barnes & Noble and we're gonna go pick that up and then come back and hopefully do some reading before I have improv practice later and all that jazz. So of course, on the way to Barnes & Noble, I've got my Hunger Games playlist pulled up. The Hunger Games movies honestly have some of the best soundtracks, I think, of any franchise. Like, I clearly need to get a phone mount. That's a conversation for another day. Hunger Games movies soundtracks are so good. I mean, you've got the first movie with freaking bangers from Taylor Swift, Safe and Sound, Eyes Open, are you kidding me? We've got some Coldplay Atlas action. We've got freaking Yellow Flicker Beat or whatever the freak that song is. So good. Oh my gosh, Olivia Rodrigo, Can't Catch Me Now. Honestly, arguably one of her best songs ever, and it's on the freaking Hunger Games soundtrack. And then we got all the bangers from Songbirds and Snakes from Rachel Zegler. That woman has the voice of an angel. I can't wait to see what we get from this new movie. So yeah, that's what I'm listening to on the way, you know, get myself in the headspace of Panem. Okay, I gotta go. I got it. It's looking like it's a little under 400 pages. Also, look what they gave me when I checked out, a free little pin. Isn't that so cute? Sunrise on the Reaping pin. Look how gorgeous this is. I love the purple and the gold. It looks so good in person. Oh yes, yes. And then on the back, it says, when you've been set up to lose everything you love, what is there left to fight for? Oh, okay. So it's like gonna be emotionally devastating. Like, yay. Yeah, okay. See, just to compare it, this is Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Look how thicky this one is. And then this one, quite a bit smaller. So I'm thinking I'm gonna finish this pretty fast, but I can't start it yet because I have things to do. And I have like an issue where when I start reading a book, especially a good book like this will inevitably be, I can't really like tear myself away from it. It's truly an issue, and I have things to do before I can start reading. So first I need to film a self-tape. I think it'd be kind of funny to show you guys what I have to do to film my self-tapes, because like I've said, my apartment is very small. Okay, there is practically no space in here, and there is no good just blank wall for me to do self-tapes with. So I kind of have to do some DIY maneuvering to get a good setup going. So let me show you what I have to do. So I have this sheet. It honestly feels more like a blanket. It's like really soft and kind of thick material. My dad got this for me for Christmas. Shout out, Dad. And I essentially take this and drape it across here. Ta-da! Yes, so I use the doors to kind of hold it in place temporarily, and I just drape it across this wall. I mean, really, you're only seeing, you know, me from in this kind of little box here. And then I set up my lights and stuff that you can't see. And then I have to, because I live alone and I also have no friends, I have to FaceTime my mom on my laptop so that she can read for me, like read, you know, the opposite lines of the script off camera. So now I'm gonna film a self-tape. I have to make myself look somewhat like a flight attendant. So let me change into something different. I don't know. This is the best I could come up with. Just a white collared shirt and then some sort of ascot. But I realize this is like the only bandana type thing I have that could work as an ascot. I'm not sure it's quite conveying flight attendant, but it's, you know, it'll do. Oh, by the way, also I'm vlogging today.
Oh, good. Am I on the vlog?
I mean,
oh, vlogging right now.
Yeah, your voice could be on the vlog right now.
Okay then.
Say hi.
What's up, vlog?
Actually, hold. My fridge is making noise.
Hold on, Ken's leaving. He's going to take the garbage out. He's going to take the garbage out.
Are not allowed in first class to... What the fuck am I saying? What is the line? What is the line? Okay, I finished my self-tape and I have a little bit of time before I have to leave for my improv practice, so I'm gonna start reading. Oh, you know it's serious when before the book even starts, she has a page of just quotes from authors like George Orwell. All propaganda is lies, even when one is telling the truth. I don't think this matters so long as one knows what one is doing and why. I'm scared. Y'all, I'm scared. Part 1, the birthday. I forgot. Isn't it like his birthday when it... Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm 1 chapter down on Sunrise on the Reaping. Oh my God. There's already so much information, so much District 12 lore, you know, coming back into the fold, so many familiar names. Loving it. I already feel so horrible for Haymitch because he has a lot to lose and we know where he ends up. So reading a prequel or even watching a prequel like the Star Wars prequels, for example, it's like almost more devastating knowing what is going to happen because it's just like inevitable and it makes it so much sadder to watch or read. That's why I am so dead set on the reading order for Throne of Glass, where you read the prequel Assassin's Blade third, because I really truly think like knowing what is going to happen makes it so much more devastating. Anyway, I'm taking a break because I need to have a snack before improv so that I have energy. And my snack of choice is gonna go ahead and be the Caesar salad dip from Trader Joe's. Let me put you on to this. Go to your local Trader Joe's, pick up some Caesar salad dip. All right, everything's okay. So I just kind of dropped it in the sink, but it's all fine, it's all good. And then I like dipping in wheat thins or carrots into it. It's also really good to use, like, if you're gonna make chicken Caesar salad wraps or something like that, you can use this and just like spread it on like the tortilla, or even like mix it in a bowl with your chicken. Reading update, I've literally, since the last time we've talked, all I've read is The City of Gods and Monsters on my Kindle. I didn't love it. I mean, it was good. Like, I read the whole thing and I was entertained, but it wasn't my favorite, and I don't think that I'll probably continue with the series for now. The whole reason I read it was because it was free on Prime Reading. So if like I see that, the sequel eventually is free on there as well, then like I would probably read it. I think maybe I don't love urban fantasy very much. Like when it's set like in a city with modern technology. That's the other thing. City of Gods and Monsters. I don't know when it was written, but it was like suspiciously like, this is kind of just Crescent City, but not as good. Those were my thoughts on that. And then other than that, I've just been reading an embarrassing amount of fan fiction, to the point where I will be counting them as books in my final, like, how many books I read in the year, because they're so long. I don't want to get into it today. By the time this comes out, my Catalina Island vlog should be out. If you haven't watched that yet, go check it out. I'm still editing it currently, so hopefully it turned out good. But yeah, I've just been watching Severance, watching White Lotus. I don't know, those are kind of all the updates I have for y'all. I'm gonna keep eating, hopefully read a little bit more, and then I'm going to go to improv. I was getting ready to come to improv practice, and I genuinely was like one moment away from packing my book to bring. And it's like, when was I gonna read it? Like in the 5 minutes in my car before I had to go up? I have such issues, like mentally. All right, I'm back from improv practice. I just had dinner, and now it's time to get cracking on this book. I'm scared, so yes, I'm gonna start reading. I've got my Hunger Games ambiance pulled up here. The sounds of the forests of District 12 and Hunger Games music, of course. And yeah, I guess next time I see you guys will probably be when I have finished this book.
12 seconds later.
One chapter later and I'm all choked up. I think this book is gonna be painful. See you guys at the finish line.
Day 2.
So it is 2 days later, March 20th, and I finished Sunrise on the Reaping last night. I tried to film my thoughts directly after, but I was a little distraught due to the amount of tears that were shed.
3:28 a.m.
So I finished the book. I don't think I could talk about this yet. I mean, to put it lightly, this book utterly destroyed me. It was so devastating. I'm gonna try and give some non-spoiler thoughts and a little review of what I thought of this book. I thought it was so good, so beautifully written. Obviously, going into it, I did expect to be saddened by some things, right? This is not a spoiler. In Catching Fire, there is an entire part of this book where Katniss and Peeta sit down and they watch the 50th Quarter Quell, which is Haymitch's games, and it gives kind of a little recap of that games. So we knew some information going into this just based off of that. We knew that he allied with Maisley Donner from District 12. What I didn't know, based off of what we learned in Catching Fire and Mockingjay, is just how horrifically devastating Haymitch's life is. So much goes wrong for him in such a heartbreaking way and such a haunting way. I honestly, after reading this, I think that Haymitch is the most tragic character in the Hunger Games universe. In my opinion, I cried so many times just knowing that like all these kids are gonna die. And I feel like in this book we spend so much more time with the other tributes, and so I just feel like you're spending all this time getting to know them, but you know that they're gonna die. And then also this book just had so much lore in it, like so many name drops of characters that we know from the original trilogy or even from Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, and those connections were also really getting to me. That is a critique I've seen some people say is like, oh, there's just like fan service, right? They're just like name dropping and shoehorning a bunch of characters into this. I do see where they're coming from with that criticism, but I do think that Suzanne Collins really thoroughly thinks out each person that she puts in this book, and their purpose is very clear, and it definitely serves the overall story and makes like their appearances in other books make so much more sense of why they are the way they are. This book was also just so thoroughly entertaining and fun to read because of Haymitch as the protagonist. He just has such a distinct humor about him that I think Katniss never really had as a protagonist, and then obviously Snow never really had. And it's a different perspective that we haven't seen and is really entertaining to read, but then is obviously also heartbreaking because you do go through a journey with Haymitch throughout this book of seeing how he goes from point A to point B and becomes the person that we know in the original trilogy. I do think I personally maybe would have liked it to be a little longer, just to like maybe let some of the moments breathe a little bit more. Speaking of Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, this book does an amazing job reminding you that yes, even though President Snow was really hot in the movie of this book, that doesn't mean that he is still not the most evil, vile piece of shit to walk the planet. I have the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and in the back there is a Q&A with Suzanne Collins, but she talked about before writing all her books, she likes to start with the overall theme. Yeah, so she says, I always start with the underlying ideas. In this case, implicit submission, the uncertainty of inductive reasoning, propaganda, love. And you can definitely feel that theming throughout the book, especially propaganda. It just goes to remind you of how much the government can control the overall narrative and what the public knows and is privy to. She is just a masterclass writer. It is so well written. There's so many threads that are so perfectly weaved throughout this and beautiful and haunting, and so of the times, like the ideas that are discussed in this are just so what we're going through now. I also loved the character of Maisie Donner. Super, super fun character to read about. There's a lot of really good characters in this. I don't want to get into it too much because they are like spoilers. Anyway, I would obviously recommend reading this book. I'm so excited for the movie whenever that is gonna come out. I'm also scared for it, to be honest. Like, I can already see the TikTok edits coming and I'm scared. There's almost certainly things that I'm forgetting to say about this book in the moment, but I just can't stop thinking about how sad it is. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for coming along with me on my Sunrise on the Reaping journey. Like and subscribe, comment down below if you would like me to talk about the Hunger Games more, because I definitely will. I could do maybe a Hunger Games tier list. I've never done that before, so if that's something you'd be interested in, let me know. But otherwise, bye. Thanks for watching. I love reading. Reading is so fun. Thanks, Suzanne Collins.